Hey dreamers, welcome back.
Why are you such a copycat?
So this week's theme is why blank sucks, and I thought that I would take this opportunity to talk about a hot topic and talk about why millennials suck. Now listen, I myself am a millennial, so I have a lot of expertise on the subject. In fact, spoiler alert, I actually don't think millennials suck. I know, what a revolutionary concept. I'm actually going to be fighting back in this video against the older generation's insistence that we are all greedy, lazy, attention-seeking, you get it. So let's just dive right in. So I went to Google to find some better articles about us, and I thought it would just be easier to search why millennials suck in the search bar. You know, just keeping it simple. Lucky for me, I didn't even have to finish typing the word millennial because it was one of the first suggestions that Google gave me. Actually, it was the first. Turns out a lot of people hate us, I guess. In fact, every single article that I found was literally just some bitter 30 or 40-year-old just whining about how whiny we are. But we're the hypocrites, right? In fact, I'm not even going to name these articles specifically because they're ridiculous and unfounded and literally just some old person yelling about how they can't be racist or sexist anymore because it's just a joke and everyone gets so offended these days and special snowflake syndrome. So on that note, I'm going to start off with the last one I just named. All millennials are special snowflakes. There seems to be this huge misconception that we were all coddled when we were younger and told that everything that we did was perfect. In fact, a lot of them brought up so-called participation awards that we apparently were given all throughout elementary and middle school and the equivalent of that in high school. I don't know about a lot of other millennials, but this was never the case for me. There may have been a class or two in elementary school, just elementary school, where we got like a gold star for actually doing our work, but that was literally it. And past that, I can tell you that I was not coddled by any means. My parents and all of my teachers always believed that you needed to earn your success and work hard. Now, granted, most of my teachers liked me, but that was almost always because I worked hard. And sure, there are some sports when you're in literally elementary school where apparently, like, they do get participation awards, but that's at the end of the season, not each game. And each game, like, they're like, oh, you know, you were the star player, whatever. I don't really know a ton about it. I've just talked to some people who have been in those situations. But, like, generally, that's not the case. Like, participation awards exist in elementary school where kids should not be being competitive anyway. Like, it baffles my mind that like Generation X just kind of like expects kids to like be so competitive and cutthroat and all of a sudden like, you know, at 6 years old, oh, I'm gonna make it in the pros. Like, no, they're literally playing a game. But you know, moving on. Let me just get one thing straight real quick. I never ever cried because someone told me I wasn't good at something. Well, maybe once or twice when I was younger, when it was by someone that I really cared about their opinion, like my parents, for instance, but that was also, in my defense, always whenever it was something that I was like, you know, thought was like my huge dream at the time, and I still never let it like knock me down or have a mental breakdown. An actual line from one of those articles. It said something along the lines of like, oh, well, if you tell them that they're not perfect and the best at anything, then they'll just like have a mental breakdown. Like, no, actually, no. My point is, I thrive on criticism. If you give me legitimate critique, then I am not going to get depressed, to use your ableist word. Instead, I'm going to take it into consideration and then I'm going to go back and revise my work. I may not do it exactly how you want me to do it because it's my work for a reason, but I'm going to take your criticism and your thoughts that are legitimate and I'm going to apply them. This applies to my acting, my fiction, my YouTube, my poetry. The list literally just goes on. But there's a difference here that they're not bringing up in any of these articles. Criticism versus being made fun of. Yeah, critique is great. If you tell me that my plot is all over the place and that I could develop my main character more and that, like, you know, it's confusing when this happens and maybe I should, like, you know, add more images here or whatever, I will nod and I will jot it down and I will look back at it later. But if someone hears me read my poem and starts shouting things like, lol, okay, angst, or you're not good enough to be Sylvia Plath, stop trying, or don't quit your day job, like, that's not criticism. Does it sound like criticism? Because it's not. I'm gonna shut my window real quick. My point is, if Gen X wants to whine about how sensitive we are, then they can't go around just like making fun of us and forgetting their maturity. That's not sensitive. That's human decency. That's respect, something they demand and expect but refuse to give. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the idea that millennials are narcissists because they have access to the internet. I know, that makes literally zero sense. How does the internet automatically make us narcissistic? It doesn't, but let's pretend to hear them out. Gen X seems to think that because we take selfies and film videos and create things like poetry and put it online for other people to see, we think that we are the shit. The reality is that most of us are self-deprecating little shits who just happen to have a place to share our work with the world, who just happen to have a place where we can put our work and other people can see it. Doesn't that sound familiar? Books, newspapers, journals. Gee, I just can't figure out why. Radio shows. I could go on. My YouTube channel is by no means me going, oh my god, I'm so cute and funny and my life is just like so great. Do you want me to like shove it in your face so you have to watch it? No, actually it's me going, my life is like real messed up. Do you want to hear about it? It's entertaining, I think. I mean, watch if you want. And speaking of, let's go ahead and define narcissism because we have online dictionaries, so naturally we think we're geniuses and, you know, we can tell Siri to tell us anything that we need to know. They probably just don't know the definition of narcissism because they don't know how to use phones. Siri, what's the definition of narcissism?
Narcissism means excessive or erotic interest in oneself and one's physical appearance.
Yeah, but tell me again how posting a selfie of my new hair or selfies with my friends so that I don't forget about them or selfies whenever I travel somewhere or selfies for the hell of it are an excessive and erotic obsession with my appearance. I'm allowed to think I'm cute because I am. And isn't Gen X the one always saying that confidence is key? Just, you know, not if you're a millennial. Because they're older and upset that they can't control and manipulate us anymore. Our children aren't our property? They're actual adults with actual brains? They're allowed to tell me no? I think the last thing I want to talk about today is the claim that millennials are lazy and expect everything to be handed to them. I was going to talk about the every millennial is so offended by anything bullshit, but honestly I've rented enough in this video and it would kind of get ugly real quick, so maybe in another video. So yeah, millennials are all lazy and they're all broke but won't take on a second or third job and they're all in debt and they're not contributing to the economy and they have terrible credit. But did you ever stop to ask why it seems like that? First of all, we're all in debt because Generation X insisted that we were invaluable as human beings if we didn't go to college. So we did. And we acquired debt, a lot of it. Now let's keep going. Because of all that debt, we have bills that we have to pay, but we can't pay those bills because we're broke. We're all broke because our bills are higher than they were at your age, and we're also getting paid less percentage-wise. Let me start by talking about minimum wage. Our minimum wage is currently $7.25 an hour. An article at PBS.com linked below stated that it would be a feat to get $12,000 a year on minimum wage, even at full-time hours. $12,000? Isn't that the poverty line? Yes, it is. In fact, the same article stated that in 1968, when most of our parents would have been working, not mine because they, you know, had kids too early and, you know, they also weren't born yet and they're just now in their 40s, would equal about $10.90 now adjusted for inflation. Yet they're the ones insisting that our minimum wage shouldn't be raised because it's going to propel inflation? Newsflash, inflation is happening regardless. The minimum wage has not been raised in years, and now we're supposed to pay our rent on less than you used to, but we can't complain about it or demand more money because then we're being greedy? No, we're broke because we're underpaid and we can't take on a second or third job because we would be underpaid there too, and we're already spending all of the hours, like grabbing as many hours as we can physically handle, not just mentally, physically handle in order to pay our bills, in order to struggle to make ends meet. So let's put this together now. We were shoved into college whether we really wanted to go or not. That gave us hella debt. We got jobs to pay for rent and food and electricity. Oh yeah, and all that debt that we acquired because of you. But our jobs aren't paying us enough. We're desperately searching for places that will pay us even slightly more, even though it's still less than what you used to get paid, which is why we're quitting our jobs, because it's not worth it if we can find something that makes it even slightly easier to pay our bills. However, you are demanding that we not be compensated fairly while also complaining that we're not contributing to the economy with the money we're making at our jobs that's going directly to bills and debt and maxed out credit cards. I have a maxed out credit card. Do you know what I maxed it out on? I didn't go on a shopping spree. I didn't buy a brand new video game console. I didn't get a big vanity mirror or a walk-in closet. I maxed it out buying groceries to stay alive, which gave me more debt. It's a vicious cycle. We aren't lazy. We're tired and desperate to have a chance at, I don't know, surviving. Forget the American dream. All I want is to be able to afford a small but decent apartment and groceries every week. I want to be able to pay my phone bill every month, to pay the electricity bills and never have to worry about it getting shut off because I didn't get paid enough that month. That's literally it. I remember talking to someone a little while back who was like, oh, I don't understand why everyone always complains about paying bills. I don't mind paying bills. And my thing is, I don't mind paying bills either. The only reason I do mind paying bills is because I can't. If I had the money to pay bills, fine. But I literally don't. So stop telling me that my generation is greedy and lazy and narcissistic. Stop trying to tell us that we're overly sensitive and that it's not that bad and that you used to work just as hard as we did and you were still able to climb to the top and yet we're struggling at the bottom and wonder why that is. Millennials don't suck. Reasons Gen X uses to tell us that we do suck. The end. I hope you enjoyed that video or agreed or watched it or shared it, I don't know, something. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and then hop on over to my personal channel, Copycat, where I will be uploading an outrageous story time this Sunday. In fact, I upload on here every Friday and on there every Sunday, so check it out. It's an experience. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Good night, sleep tight, bed bugs, and all that jazz. Millennials suck. Now listen, I myself am in fact, spoiler alert. So I went to Google to find out. Guess. In fact, you're not Sylvia Plath. You're not good at But if someone hears me read my poem and just like my point is, if Gen X wants to, gee, I can't wonder why. Weird and awful? No. Okay. I was gonna talk about the, mine had kids young or just now in their 40s, but can't take on a second or a third job because we would be but our jobs aren't paying us enough. We are desperately, that we should not be compensated fairly for doing the jobs that we are, you know, not falling apart, not invested with cockroaches. I just said invested. Stop trying to tell. Oh, okay. It looked like it was, yeah.